Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's doing good today. First off, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hope you get to crack a brew, get on the barbecue, and listen to your boy here talk about trending players. Who's hot, who's not after we finished mini camps and we're heading into NFL training camp and preseason. I'm stoked. Hope you guys are also. Got a lot of players, man. I got wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends on who's hot, who's not, and there's a ton of them to discuss right now. First, we'll start off with my guy, Ramondre Stevenson. Dre, New England Patriots, and I mean, okay, fine. You know, it's not a huge deal. He's on the uptick, by the way, if you see the arrow right there, but it's not a huge deal that they got rid of the buddy from Jacksonville. I mean, Robinson, it's not a big deal that he's gone because I didn't really, suspect that he was going to steal a lot of touches from Dre anyway, but this is a good news situation because they're going to utilize who they had last year, and Ramondre Stevenson is just going to eat all the carries and volume that he can potentially get. His stock continues to rise, and he has got definite legitimacy to be a top 8, if not a top 5 running back in all of fantasy football, half PPR this year. It is legit on target for all the volume he could potentially get this season. Saquon Barkley is on the down right now, and it's a slight downtrend. It's not a huge glaring thing because I do believe it's going to get figured out. It's the contract situation. Saquon is not happy. He does not want to play on the franchise tag. He wants his bag, and the New York Giants, along with other NFL teams in the league, are not willing to pony up the dough for running backs anymore. Saquon is saying, they capped us at $10 million, and he's not happy, and he did suggest sitting out is a possibility. I do not foresee Saquon sitting out this season. I do believe that the Giants even put, $4 more million on the board in hopes to entice Saquon to sign his tender and play, obviously, for this season under the franchise tag, as no long-term deal is going to be, fetched before the season starts. I don't foresee, but I do not see Saquon sitting out the entire year, but we got to speak on what we know, and what we know right now is not good, because Saquon is definitely throwing it out there that he does not, he would sit out this year if he had to. I don't think it's going to happen, but slight downtrend for Saquon, just because we got to keep our eyes on that one right now. High up trend right now is Alexander Mattison, Minnesota Vikings. For simple reasons, they released Dalvin Cook. They got him off the roster, and somebody's got to take their next step in the volume carries. Alexander Mattison is going to be that guy. They view him as a running back 1 from what we see in media coverage right now. I am a little bit cautiously optimistic. I like Alexander Mattison. He's going to definitely get a lot of volume. It's going to be his job to lose, but they could definitely potentially have a 3 backfield set here in Minnesota, and I do believe they will be a lot more pass happy this year in Minnesota, so stay tuned for that. But Alexander Mattison is definitely rising very strong. His ADP may have priced his way out of my dealings of suggesting I'm in on Alexander Mattison, because his ADP is going to continue to just fly up the roof, man. Josh Jacobs is on the down. It's the same situation we got with Saquon, except that Jacobs has not signed his franchise tag right now, and I get it. He doesn't want to participate to potentially get hurt in this offseason programs. Completely understand why he's not signing. I also believe that he's going to play this year under the tag with these Las Vegas Raiders. But they're a hot mess right now as well. We got the Jimmy Garoppolo situation. Is he healthy? Can he play? He didn't pass his medicals. And then you got potentially Carson Wentz in the waiting just in case Jimmy G doesn't pan out. This is no bueno. It's no good. Josh Jacobs right now is on the down. If he does play football this year, you got to believe he's going to go hard once again, but he's coming off a boatload of carries, so that's definitely something to watch. Right now, Josh Jacobs is trending slightly downward, just like Saquon is. Just the situation to watch and be mindful of, not to be overly fearful at this point. James Cook, my guy, Buffalo Bills. His trend is rising for me, and it's been rising all offseason, even going back to last year. The Bills want to utilize this man, and I think they're going to give him every opportunity to showcase that this offseason in training camp and the preseason. I get it. We got Damian Harris and Lat Murray in the waiting. Still got Naheem Hines. There will be a nice heavy set of rotation in this backfield for the Buffalo Bills, but James Cook is very dynamic, super speedy, and the Bills will utilize this man a lot this year. I think his value to return on investment is going to be massive in fantasy football. James Cook is definitely rising up my board. Dalvin Cook, new free agent. And again, these elite trend running backs right now who want their money and they're not going to get it. And this is probably the situation where I also believe running backs need to be, reworked in the CBA for them to get a little bit more payday, especially coming out of the draft. Perhaps they pay them a little bit more on the rookie contract, or they give them less years, even if they are a first-round pick. So then maybe dial it back from 5 years to maybe 3 years. That way they can at least get a bigger contract on their second contract in only 3 years. We'll see how that goes. I know that's going to be a hot topic for the next couple years until they realize how to utilize these top-tier running backs. Dalvin Cook right now without a club, he wants the $10 million plus $10 to $12 million. I don't foresee him getting that from any club right now. And I mean, if he does get lesser contract of the $5 to $6 million, will he be really playing his heart out? He's definitely on the down for me, just based on his current situation right now. Wide receivers, Darnell Mooney. Full Mooney, baby. He is going up the board. He looks good. He's looking rested, fresh from his injury. And I get it. We got, DJ Moore coming in, and everyone's saying DJ Moore is going to be the guy. I completely understand. We got a default to full-blown chemistry from last season, and Darnell Mooney did see a lot of that with Justin Fields. I do believe it's going to increase because he is in the system. He knows the system. He knows the pass game, and on top of it, the Bears are not happy with Chase Claypool right now. All signs point to Darnell Mooney having a very good year if he can stay healthy and on the field, and I think Justin Fields is the real deal. No kidding. Michael Thomas, slant boy, he is on the rise. If you can believe it, I get it. He hasn't played, viable fantasy snaps in about 3 years, and I mean the injury, he looks good right now, so everything is pointing up in the direction that he could potentially be the 1A to the 1B of a Chris Olave in this offense. Derek Carr is injecting new life in this New Orleans Saints offense, and you love to see it. I think that it's a viable opportunity for Derek Carr to support multiple weapons in this offense, and Michael Thomas could find a resurrection this season. I mean, his ADP right now where you're drafting him is definitely the possibility of being a very big sleeper candidate. I am definitely looking in the direction of Michael Thomas. Not full-blown support just yet, but his value is definitely rising on the trends market right now, man. Davante Adams! More Las Vegas Raider trouble. What else can I say? I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz throwing the ball. I prefer Jimmy Garoppolo to Davante Adams over a Carson Wentz, but it's not shaping up to be a very, powerful season for one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. He is not happy as well. He's completely disgruntled with how the situation went down with Derek Carr. Right now, Davante Adams is on a slight downtrend because, he is like one of those enigmas that can absolutely take over a game by himself, but he needs somebody capable to throw him the ball. So, I mean, right now it's just a complete disarray overall in Vegas, and I got to have to put Davante Adams on the downtrend simply because of all the surrounding pieces that are going to affect his game this season. It is not a good situation whatsoever. Jahan Dotson, Washington Commanders, the Commies. And Jahan Dotson came on record talking up my guy Sam Howell. I've been telling y'all since he got into the league from UNC that he was the most pro-ready rookie quarterback coming out of that draft class, and him falling into that 5th round was an absolute ridiculous event, and he's going to prove it to everybody this season. Now he's got Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator. Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, this offense should be able to hum, and I do believe Sam Howell's going to win that starting job, which also means Jahan Dotson is going to be rising up the board, and his value is definitely a steal right now for me. DeAndre Hopkins, next one on my list. He's on a slight down. He's a free agent. He's making his rounds. He went to the Titans. He went to the Patriots. And if I got to pick the poison, I want him to go to the Patriots for fantasy football, not because I want to cheer for the Patriots, but I mean, I think that's the better landing spot over Tennessee. I don't believe that Ryan Tannehill, is going to be able to support it overly, in a high abundance where, DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up still being a top 15 wide receiver in half PPR leagues. It's going to be very difficult in an offense that is still predicated on the ground game with a Derrick Henry. Right now, I do believe going to New England would be a little bit better. I still believe in Mac Money Jones. I think he could still sling the ball. He showed it in Alabama. He just needs more weapons. He's not a mobile quarterback. He needs wide receivers to get open, and he will dissect the field. So if DeAndre Hopkins goes to New England, his stock will increase a little bit. But right now, when we see no Buffalo, no Kansas City, unless DeAndre Hopkins takes less money, right now his stock is definitely downtrending for me because, the high-end potential may not be there for, complete statistical achievement. Juju Smith-Schuster, New England Patriots. He's dealing with a nagging knee injury. That's on the down for me as well. And if DeAndre Hopkins does sign here, that's also on the down. I think that if Juju Smith-Schuster does does not get a DeAndre Hopkins in New England. I think it's a positive. His health, on the other hand, we got to understand what is going on with his knee. Hearing rumor that it is a nagging knee problem. Didn't do much in OTAs and mandatory minicamp, so it is definitely something to keep your eye on. Do I believe he's going to play this year and play well? Yes. If he gets a DeAndre Hopkins, it's going to be tough sledding, I think, for him to get those top-end targets where he could live in the slot, and Bill Belichick will, produce another huge slot weapon with a Juju Smith-Schuster. Right now, too many unknowns for me to feel comfortable about it. Juju is definitely on the down. Finish it with tight ends. TJ Hawkinson, Minnesota Vikings, his trend is on the rise. And much like I said, releasing one of the elite running backs in this league in Dalvin Cook, I think this is only more, positive understanding that the Minnesota Vikings are going to continue to be more of a passing team. You drafted Jordan Addison. You still got JJ. They want to pass the ball. Knowing that, they could move on from Kirk Cousins after this season is a big deal, and they're going to try to exploit everything that's left in Kirk Cousins' arm. I think TJ Hawkinson is going to have a phenomenal season. His trend is definitely on the rise. Dawson Knox, Buffalo Bills, he's trending down for me right now. Not in a huge way, but I don't like the situation for him fantasy football viability-wise. Just don't like it whatsoever. Dalton Kincaid will play, and they will find a role for him in this offense. Could Dawson Knox find himself, blocking a little bit more? We could definitely see that. Will he only see, red zone targets, or are those going to go to Kincaid as well? There's a lot of unknowns for a Dawson Knox right now. He did find himself injured in mandatory mini camps, but he did walk it off, so there's nothing to suggest that it's a long nagging injury. But for me right now, everything is pointing in the down section for Dawson Knox for this season for fantasy football. Darren Waller, New York Giants, he is on the rise. And I think he is going to be the number one wide receiver target, under quote-unquote wide receiver tight ends. Because, he is probably the best wide receiver they do have in this room right now. He is a baller. If he can stay healthy, I think Brian Daboll's going to exploit every ounce of his talent in this offense and then utilize his wide receivers outside of that anyway. Do they truly have a number one wide receiver on this New York Giants offense right now? It is the question mark. They got a lot of nice secondary pieces. Wan'Dale Shepard, Paris Campbell. We shall see who's going to evolve. But we could definitely see an elite tight end like Darren Waller be the guy in New York with Daniel Jones. Daniel Pennies, he's going to feed him dimes all over the field. No kidding, man. Sam Laporta, rookie for these Detroit Lions. I've been a huge supporter of Sam Laporta coming out of this draft process. He is one of these guys that's a sneaky talent at the tight end spot. You can say similarly in that mold of the Pat Freiermuth-esque type of guy. I still think Pat Freiermuth is probably a little bit better than a Laporta, but I am a big fan. He's the ability in both blocking and receiving upside, red zone possibilities, the play-action pass that can be exploited using the tight end Sam Laporta. He is going to make potential waves this year. Might start out the gates a little bit slow, but he is definitely one that's going to be waiver wire priority as we get into the season. His value is definitely on the rise here for trending players. On the down, unfortunately, right now is Kyle Pitts with the Atlanta Falcons. Just haven't heard enough positives about Kyle Pitts right now in his recovery, how things are going, how this offense is going to go. We understand it's Bijan Robinson show in Atlanta right now, and we could see it's Bijan, then Drake London, and then Kyle Pitts, 1, 2, 3 in that respect, in that regard. We shall see. I want to see how it's going to happen for Kyle Pitts in training camp if he does suit up and start playing in camp, but right now, he is a little bit risky for me. I want to hear a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more. I want to understand how they're going to utilize him with a Bijan Robinson. It's going to be very tricky because he's being drafted as the number 3 tight end in most categories right now. Still a little too rich for my blood. The guy that just doesn't find the end zone, does catch a lot of balls, doesn't find the end zone. Last one is Noah Fant on the downtrend with me. Seattle Seahawks, I understand his value is pretty low, and it's a safe risk that you could take if you're waiting and stalling on picking a tight end. But with all the wide receiver talent, with the addition of Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then you got the running backs with Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet, I just don't understand how you're going to find viable weapons or viable touches and targets for a Noah Fant, I should say it that way. It's just going to be very difficult. His boom rate could be something out of 1 out of 5 contests that he's going to actually get you some 1 out of 4 contests. It's not going to be a great heap of statistical achievement for him. So for me right now, I just got to down Noah Fant. I think there are much better tight end options out there for you that you can get, especially at that value. But there you have it. That is trending players for running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Hope you guys like that, because on Father's Day, we got to drink those beers because I'm about to go crack one myself, and it's good times, but nevertheless. Oh, and thanks, everybody. We cracked a 1,000 subscriber mark. I almost forgot. Truly appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel. Made it to 1,000. So pumped, so happy. Thank you so much for all the support, but nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.